My 32F husband, 53M, wants a divorce. How do I tell him I'm pregnant without coming off manipulative? TW, mention of miscarriages. So recently my 32F husband, 53M, told me he wants a divorce. As a bit of background, my husband, we'll call him Jordan, was a family friend, and after a bit of messing around I ended up pregnant with our daughter, 14F. We ended up having a good old shotgun wedding, courtesy of my highly religious family. The topic of families came up afterwards, naturally, and we both make our stances clear. Jordan wants a big family and always has. I'm talking mother, father, 7 children and a dog type deal. Meanwhile, I wasn't super opposed to the idea of one, though I felt 7 was a bit much. Anyway, life goes on as we settle into newly married life. He gets a promotion and is working longer hours. We decide I quit my job to start caring for our daughter full-time so we can save more money from daycare costs, and when she turns 5 and starts kinder we decide to start trying for another child. Well, roughly 2 years into this, with no results I get cancer. We put the family thing on hold and I opt for treatment. My doctor did warn me that the chemo drugs I was on had a high risk of causing permanent changes to my fertility, but we decide to go through with it anyway. There was a rather scary period of time where it looked like treatment was making it worse, but I managed to pull through. Shortly after me and Jordan get back to the family planning. Unfortunately, in this time, it very much seemed like the infertility risk hit, as I couldn't keep a pregnancy. The few times I did get pregnant usually ended with a miscarriage, with the one time I made it to full term ending in a stillbirth. Well, after a few months of this, he tells me that he's sick and tired of getting his hopes up only to be let down, and that if I get pregnant I should just not tell him until I was 3/4 months along, since the risk of a miscarriage would go down significantly then. I agree and follow this rule. As of last month, I notice that Jordan becomes distant. He takes longer shifts at work, he isn't as intimate with me anymore, and he pretty much ignores our daughter and me completely, while before he always made sure to at least greet and hug her, even if he was running a bit late. And then about a week ago, I get served with divorce papers while he's at work. He refuses to tell me why he wants one, and is insistent that it isn't a problem I can fix. The only problem is that I'm pregnant, and was planning to tell him the news the literal day I was served, since I had passed the 4-month mark. Now, however, I'm worried about how to tell him. I have to disclose that I'm pregnant on the paperwork, since that affects possible child support and custody, and I don't want to lie to a judge, but I also want to tell him myself instead of having him find out through the court. My issue is that I'm worried that if I tell him now it'll look like I'm trying to manipulate him into canceling the divorce and force him to stay with me, but if I wait for it to be mentioned during the divorce it'll look like I was trying to hide it and trap him into paying more money for a child he wouldn't be aware of. Can anyone help me out on the best way to tell him without it coming off this way? I appreciate any advice you can give me. TLDR, my 32F husband, 53M, wanted a big family, but I ended up infertile due to illness. He recently told me he wants a divorce, and I'm not sure how to tell him I'm pregnant without coming off like I want to manipulate him.